does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, an official expansion review. And today I'm very excited to check out Catan, Cities, and Knights. So this is an expansion to the immensely popular Settlers of Catan. I'm not calling it Catan, I don't care. In which you are going to be adding new knights and barbarians to fight those knights. I actually flipped that. Barbarians are going to be coming to Catan, and you have to get knights to fight off those barbarians. Also, there's going to be 3 completely different kinds of cards. There's going to be 3 commodities, which are pretty much just like resources you'll be able to acquire. There's going to be a little flip book, so there's a little bit of a tech upgrade thing going on. It adds a race element to the game. Lots of different things coming in this expansion, but is it good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Catan, Cities, and Knights. So first and foremost, we got our handy-dandy rule booklet. 18 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. Last few pages is just an almanac. Overall, very helpful rule booklet. This is like the 3rd, 4th, 5th edition, so they fine-tuned the rules. Big thumbs up on the rule booklet here. So, in Catan, Cities, and Knights, I'm going to show you what you're going to be getting new and how it works. I'm not going to be showing you how to play Catan, but I am going to be talking about the new aspects of the game. So first and foremost, everyone is going to get this little Rolodex looking thing right here. And this is going to represent your city, kind of, because you will be able to upgrade your city as you progress through the game. Also, it's going to conveniently tell you how you will be able to build different things like roads, ships, settlements, city walls, knights, all the stuff that you're used to for the most part, plus all the new things. The other interesting aspect is that you will be able to upgrade different parts of your city, either your trade, your politics, or your science, and you're going to do that by paying a completely new resources, which is up here. So there's cloth, there's books, and then there are coins up here, and you will be able to acquire those by building cities, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. The other big addition is going to be over here, which is going to be this barbarian ship, which is going to slowly but surely be coming to Catan to attack you. The only way to stop it is by, as collectively a group, having enough knights to stop it, enough knight power, I should say. And so everyone's going to be hopefully building knights because it can give you victory points, but also because it's the only way you'll be able to protect your cities from getting destroyed. So let's go over the components and the gameplay. So we talked about the new resources already up here. How you're going to get these is by building cities. So let's say you have a city and it's right next to the woods. Instead of getting 2 pieces of wood, you get 1 wood and you get 1 book. This counts just as a regular resource. You can trade it. It can be stolen by the robber, anything like that. Likewise, if this were next to brick, you would get 2 bricks because these only correspond to fields, to stone, and to wood. So if you put this next to an ore, you'd get 1 ore and you get 1 coin. Put it next to a pasture, you'd get 1 sheep and you would get 1 cloth. So that is how you are going to be acquiring those. You acquire those so that you can upgrade your book down here. So let's say that I have this card right here, and on my turn, I decide I'm going to play this card. I would now upgrade this. So what does an upgrade do? Well, it's going to now allow me to potentially, on every single turn, not just my own, now start acquiring these blue cards, or the green cards, or the yellow cards. So since I turned in a stone, I get to flip over this one right here, and now I can potentially acquire blue cards whenever a blue symbol on this die is rolled and a 1 or a 2 on the red die, which is a great time to introduce the die. So in the normal game, you would always be rolling 2 dice. Well, now you're going to be rolling this 3rd extra dice right here. 3 faces of it are going to move this barbarian ship, which we talked a little bit about early. The other 3 faces are going to have green, yellow, and blue. So when the blue comes up, and if it's a 2 and whatever number, so let's just say you get an 8, everyone's going to collect their resources as per normal. But if my Rolodex is flipped like so, I'm now going to get a blue card. Now, here's the rules with the blue cards. They can't be stolen by robbers or anything like that. They don't count to your hand size, but you can only have 4 of these cards at a time, or else you have to start discarding them. And we will go over some of the cards in the deck so you can get a feel for them. So Warlord, you may activate all your knights for free. So that is really helpful. So let's talk about the knights right now. So most of the time, though, you're going to be rolling the barbarian ship. The barbarian ship is going to be getting closer and closer to you. The only way to stop the barbarian ship is by building knights. So you build knights with sheep and with ore, and then you have to activate that knight with a wheat. So there's a white side where it's unactivated, and then a yellow side where it is activated. Now, why do you want to activate knights? Well, first and foremost, you're going to add up how many cities you have, grand total. So everybody's cities, and then you are going to add up the number of knights, and as long as you are able to cover that many, then all your cities will be safe and no one cities will get destroyed. However, if you are not, then whoever contributed the least amount of knights loses their city, and it goes back to being a settlement, which obviously is a pretty big bummer because to build a city, it's going to cost you 2 wheat, 3 ore, which is no small chunk of change. Now, the other reason why you might want to play knights is because of knight cards. Whoever is in first place by themselves on the knight strength when the barbarians attack is going to get one of these cards, and it will be just each one is a victory point. Now, if you tie on knights, then you both don't get one of those cards, but you both get to pick one of these cards out here. So either way, pretty lucrative deal for just putting out those knights, and it's also another way that another thing in the game that makes sheep more valuable. Now let's go back to this upgrade track right here. So let's just say I get a bunch of rocks. So I just keep turning them in. So this, now to upgrade, it's going to cost me 2 rocks. So at this point now, on 1s, 2s, and 3s, I get a blue card. And then eventually, I get to this point right here. So after upgrading 3 times, you start to gain a special ability on each one. And this could be a really powerful special ability. So for instance, we'll go from left to right. You may trade any commodity at the 2-to-1 rate. So you can start trading these in 2-to-1, which obviously, if you got a bunch, can be very valuable for building other things or potentially getting the commodities you want. The middle one, you may promote strong knights to mighty knights. So most of the time, you're going to have either regular knights with 1 ring around them, or you'll have strong knights with 2 rings around them, but what you can get are, boom, these 3 rings around them, mighty knights. And if you can start getting these and put one of these out, then you're always going to have essentially 3 knights. So A, your cities are always going to be safe, and B, you're always probably going to be contention to either get a victory point or to get these cards right here. So getting the Mighty Knights is very valuable as well. Last, if you receive no production on your turn, as long as it's not a 7, you get 1 resource of any type. So let's just say a 10 is rolled and you're not touching any 10s, then this means you would just get a regular resource, not a commodity, but a regular resource every time a 10 is rolled. So essentially, every time anyone rolls anything aside from a 7, you are going to get resources. So a very valuable one as well. Now, once you get to 3 of these, you get the special ability. However, once someone is able to get a 4th time flipped over, what's going to happen is, yes, it's going to go better from 1 to 4 to now 1 to 5, but you're also going to get this building right here. It's like building well, I don't remember what it's called. You're going to be building something, a bank. And you're going to be able to put this on one of your cities as long as you have a city. And this goes from being 2 points to now being 4 points. And it also, I believe it means that it cannot be destroyed as well. So yeah, very useful right there. The only catch with this is it becomes sort of more of a race aspect because the first person to build it for each color is the only person to get it. So even if I pass this person and I get to this point right here, I still don't earn it because they have already taken it. So there's only going to be 3 of these at max out on the board. The last new thing implemented in the game are going to be city walls, which are these right here. They cost 2 brick. You put this under your city or under your settlement, and now your hands, or excuse me, only under your city because it's called a city wall. And it's only going to be, it's going to add +2 to your hand size, so you're a lot less likely to get robbed, which is a nice thing right there. But that, last thing right here is the merchant. So this is a floating victory point. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, and this is going to come into play with some of the yellow cards. When you play a yellow card that is a merchant card, it will allow you to move the merchant to a spot that's next to you, and then you can now trade 2-to-1 on that particular resource, and as long as no one takes the merchant from you, you have 1 victory point. So very valuable there. But let's go over some of the different cards that you're going to see in each of the different decks. So Commercial Harbor, you may offer each opponent a resource card from your hand. In exchange, each player must give you a commodity card of his choice. If he has none, your resource card is returned. So you're going to be getting commodities from other people. Very valuable. Oh, that's not supposed to be in there. Resource Monopoly. Yeah, you're used to that one. You're going to take everybody's stuff, and everyone will be upset with you for a while. We have the Master Merchant. Select an opponent who has more victory points than you. You may examine his hand of resources and commodity cards and select any 2 cards which you may add to your hand. So it lets you steal 2 cards very specifically. The Merchant, we talked a little bit about it. It's going to allow you to move this little merchant guy. And then you'll leave this card in front of you, kind of tilted is what we do. So that way you remember that you have 1 victory point. Allows you to trade 2 to 1 on that resource. Merchant Fleet, for the rest of your turn, you may trade 1 resource commodity of your choice with the bank at a 2 to 1 rate. You may make as many trades as you wish. So the yellow one's going to be a lot about trading and gathering resources, obviously, because it's trade. Now let's talk about the green, which is the science. So Alchemist, play this card before you roll the dice. You decide what the result of both numbered dice will be. This is a huge one. The Printer, just 1 victory point. Medicine. You may upgrade 1 of your settlements into a city for 2 ore and 1 grain, so make it a little bit cheaper. Mining, you may take 2 ore cards from the bank for each mountain hex which is adjacent to at least 1 of your cities or developments. We have, medicine. We got irrigation, which is very similar to the last one you saw, except now it's for grain. The crane, one city improvement that you build this turn costs 1 less commodity than usual. So pretty useful stuff here. Now last, let's talk about the blue ones. These are all about attacking other people. Intrigue, you may displace 1 of your opponent's knights without using a knight of your own. The knight must be on an intersection connected to 1 of your roads or shipping lanes. Now this is something I forgot to mention because there is a good deal going on. The knights, once you activate them, also could do some various other different special abilities like scaring away robbers and things like that. But for the most part, I feel like most people are primarily going to use it for fighting barbarians. But yes, there's explain more in the rules, but you can do some various different things with the knights. Bishop, move the robber. You may draw 1 random card from the hand of each player who has a settlement or city adjacent to the robber's new hex. So from the that one's really good. Each player, so that's nice. Wedding, each player who has more victory points than you must give you 2 cards of his choice, resource or commodity. Huge, especially if you're in last place. Saboteur, each player who has as many or more victory points than you must discard half the cards to the bank. Yeah, that card, I really hate that card. But anywho, that's what you're going to get inside of Catan, Cities, and Knights. Alrighty then, Catan, Cities, and Knights. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game can still drag on way too long. And in particular, with as much attacking is in this game, it can drag longer than you want it to be. I forgot to mention the little part, but now the rules say to go up to 13 points as well. So the game used to be to 10 points, now you play it to 13 points, which means it's going to stretch out a little bit longer than you want it to be, especially if you get the 5 and 6 player expansion and you're playing with 5 or 6 players, then oh my gosh, it takes a very long time. Also, some people are not going to like at all the new blue cards in the game that start attacking people. And some of the attacks are really mean. I mean, if you have like 2 city walls built, you can have 11 cards in your hand. So you might be rocking like 10 cards. Somebody might play this card, boom. I just lost half the cards in my hand. It's a big bummer. So some people are really not going to like that blue attacking deck. So, yeah, that's about all the qualms that I have with the yellow and green cards. Some people will miss the development cards, like the gambling aspect of the development cards, where even if you're behind in Catan, you could just start going development card, development card, development card, development card. Maybe you get lucky, maybe you win the game. So they did take that aspect out of the game, but they added a different, unique aspect. So that's a your mileage may vary kind of thing. I personally like these 3 new cards better, the 3 new types of cards, but still, you'll have to play it to figure out which one is for you. Any other cons that I have with the game? You know, just your typical Settlers of Catan thing. It's very, very luck driven on which numbers are rolled. Now it's a lot more mean because of the added blue cards. But moving on to the pros, I'll put it like this. If you like Settlers of Catan, this is a must-own expansion. It's fantastic. It's spectacular. Of the expansions I've played, this is the best one, and it's not close. I really enjoy what this brings to the game, and I will never play Vanilla Catan again by choice without this. Now, that being said, I don't play Catan too terribly often, maybe 3-4 times a year. I still enjoy Catan. I still think it's a solid game. It's still in my collection, but I will not play it without this expansion, unless, of course, I'm trying out a different expansion. So what do I like about this? First and foremost, it makes sheeps valuable. Sheeps in regular Catan are complete and utter garbage, and they tried to fix it, by making them in the ships, and now this one with the knights, and I'm glad they do, because having knights can be very, very valuable. If you get out those knights and you get them out early and you start upgrading them, you can really do some good stuff with them, especially if you have grain around them because, ding, victory point, ding, blue card, ding, this. You're going to be able to gain things just from having those knights out. Also, by having those knights out, that's going to make it so you feel safe building those cities. And building those cities is going to then get you those commodities. And getting those commodities is then going to then allow you to start upgrading your city. And I really love games that allow me to upgrade my city, upgrade my technology, give me a special ability that other people don't have. So each time I play this, I'm always trying to race up that commodity track, trading 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 or whatever they need to do to start potentially getting those cards. And I love that aspect of, that roll didn't really help me out, but you know what? It had a green too, so I get this card, and this card is awesome because it's going to let me do something super cool, and you don't know what that super cool thing is because I don't have to show you this card until I play it. I like that aspect of the game. Yes, the meme cards suck, and they do stretch out the game a little bit longer than I want them to, but I like the fact they're there. I like the added dimension of player interaction. I really love the fact that once someone gets to the 4th upgrade, they also get this, which is 2 victory points. That's a big swing in victory points, and I like the race aspect. I also like the city wall aspect, where it's now you're not confined to 7 cards in your hand, because now, hey, I can have 9. If I get another one, hey, I can have 11 or 13. And I love that aspect of the game. So overall, this is a fantastic expansion. Highly recommend. It makes Catan better, and if you like Catan, if you have Catan, get Cities and Knights. It's just that simple. It adds some really cool aspects to the game. It doesn't add too much complexity to the game, which I like. I still think, even with this expansion, it's good. Is it still a gateway game with this expansion? And I would say yes, as long as you're a good rules teacher. Because I don't think it adds too terribly much, especially if it's like a completely new gamer playing Catan. Now, what does the city do? It gives you, it gives you a resource and it gets a commodity, and these commodities will allow you to upgrade things in your book. Yes, I would say you can still play this as a gateway game as long as you explain the rules well and how the barbarians work and the knights work. But yes. Oh, and I love the merchant. I love the merchant. I love that floating victory point. I love floating victory points in games as well. So it adds a lot of concepts that I really enjoy to the game. Catan, City and Knights, definitely a home run if you like Catan. Settlers of Catan. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, what is your favorite Catan expansion? You obviously know mine. I look forward, though, to playing all of them. I really do want to play and try all of them in the future. I've not got to it yet, but eventually, one day, I will. But let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.